Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. Kindly subscribe to our channel if you're watching us for the first time. Click the notification bell. You can also like and share our videos. To all our subscribers and our supporters, allow me to thank you in a very special way. The biggest discussion in the country today is the manner in which Kenya is condescending into a kind of dictatorship that was last witnessed in the Nyayo era. People are discussing just how William Ruto has ensured that there is a state capture. All the independent institutions that are supposed to help Kenyans at the time of their predicaments have been pocketed by William Ruto. When you go to the judiciary, there is a kind of dalliance between the executive and the judiciary. Madam Kwame is dancing to the tune of William Samoei Ruto. You go to parliament, parliament has been muzzled, has been captured, and they are also dancing to the dictates of William Samoei Ruto. So there isn't any institution that is left. NTV is currently running a story dubbed Speakers with No Order, and they are trying to highlight Speaker of the National Assembly Moses Wetangula and Speaker of the Senate Amason Kingi. Now, Otiende Amolo, who is the member of parliament for Arieda, was saying something that is very interesting concerning what we are going through as a country. And he was looking at the recent threats that William Ruto gave to the people who went to court to try and stop the illegal housing levy. And you see, that has really been the discussion of the week, where William Ruto said that he was given a sword, not as a statue, but to use it, and he promised that he would do it to rain on those who are trying to stop him on his track. And so Chindamolo is saying that so overlooked in Bunge and now threatened with beheading for litigating the legality of the housing tax. This threat is not just to the parties and lawyers, but it's directed at the courts on a pending case. This is how far we have sunk. So Chindamolo feels that, the housing levy was pushed to 2024, and I think the Attorney General and the government lawyers will soon appeal on the judgment that was made. And with these kind of threats, Otiende feels that these threats are meant to the judges that will be handling the case at the appellate level, so that they dance with you. And I'll not be surprised if that ruling will be set aside. The Court of Appeal will set aside the ruling of the High Court. It has happened before. We have seen judges who do not, who go against Ruto's will are being transferred. Ledama Lekina is saying this concerning the failed parliament, and is warning and pleading with parliamentarians at the same time that, listen, elected leaders, including myself, if we allow the executive branch of government to control us, we might as well forget parliament, as Kenyans will not elect us again. Now it's up to us to decide our future. Mkenya anaona na anasikia, and Ledama is very right. Kenyans are very alert. We are watching every step that our parliament is taking, and we are also listening to them. And this is because we are in the predicaments that are now facing us is as a result of the decisions that were made by parliament, decisions that have been made by the courts. Now, Raila Odinga was not left behind on this.
Sasa, mimi nasema kazi ya bunge ni kutetea haki ya wananchi. Imeandikwa in the Commonwealth tradition and system, the work of parliament is representation, legislation, and oversight. Sasa yani bunge inatakikana hiyo ni inaangalia kazi ya serikali kuu. Lakini kama bunge inafanya kazi ya serikali kuu, sasa nani ataoversight bunge? Sasa kama bunge yenyewe imefinywa mateke, manake sasa kama serikali kuu imeleta sheria ambayo ni mbaya, takana bunge itetee haki ya wananchi. Sheria kama sheria ya fedha ambayo juzi wameleta katika bunge, takana bunge ipinge. Lakini kama wabunge wenyewe wanaenda pale wanapiga kura kwa ile sheria ambayo ni mbaya, ambayo inafinya wananchi wenyewe, nani atatetea wananchi? Kwa upande mwingine wanasema wanataka kuuza mashirika ya serikali, KPA, ati NOC, ati hizi Mumias, Zoya na kadhalika. Na bunge wenyewe tayari wamesema sheria moja maleta ati bunge isikague kazi ya serikali. Na wabunge wenyewe wanapitisha hiyo sheria ati sasa hiyo serikali inaweza kuuza shirika yoyote bila kuleta hiyo mambo kwa bunge tena. Ni kazi gani? Wao wenyewe wamejifinya makende yao. Makende wamefinya makende yao wao wenyewe. Ni bunge hanisi, haina chochote. Upande mwingine Orengo amesema hapa ati Bwana Marende ni one of the best speakers that we have had in this country. Because Marende followed the law to the letter. Wakati mwingine mimi na Kibaki tulikuwa tunavurutana, Marende akatoa uamuzi ya kweli ya kisheria. Sasa kama natakana kama sheria imeleta mbele ya bunge, kwamba wabunge wapewe nafasi ya kutosha ya kujadili mambo hiyo. A bill before a house never had time limit. A member can talk on a bill for 2 days. And Shikuku sometimes used to talk for 2 days. These days they bring 2 bills in one afternoon. And they say they must pass all the stages within that one afternoon. Members are told, the speaker has now ruled that a member will not have only 5 minutes. 5 minutes unaweza kufanya kazi gani? Hakuna chochote. Na hizo bills zote zinapita, wapende usipende. Yani iko pale. Sasa Moses Wetangula ni rafiki yangu. Mimi ndio nilitoa yeye kwa KANU. Walikuwa ni watu wa Nyayo. Mimi ndio nilitoa yeye kaleta pande hii. Wakati tulikuwa kwa Ford, walikuwa kwa KANU. Sasa yeye amekuwa speaker. Kisheria ya House of Commons, speaker must be somebody who is neutral. A speaker must be non-partisan. You cannot be a speaker if you remain a member or a leader of the Conservative Party or Labour Party. Huwezi. Mpaka ujizulu cheo chako ya kichama ndio wewe unaweza kuwa neutral speaker. My friend Governor Masema yeye ni deputy leader for Kenya. Kiongozi wa Ford Kenya ni nani? Kiongozi wa Ford Kenya ni nani? Na taifa wa Kenya na speaker wa taifa wa Kenya ni nani? Hiyo nataka hiyo swali umuulize yeye. If you want to be a true speaker, you must resign from being a leader of Ford Kenya. And then you can be a neutral speaker. Can be able to preside over the deliberations of parliament in a neutral way. And then also allow members of parliament to debate and exhaust the debate on a particular issue. Wakati hii sheria zote ambazo zinakuja kutoka kwa ikulu zinapita. Sheria zote zinatoka kwa ikulu zinapita. Kwa hivyo Kenya wako katika hali ya hatari. Kenya yuko katika mbaya zaidi. Mtu akisema mimi I'm unstoppable. Hakuna mtu anaweza kunistopisha. Ni nani? Nyayo walisema yeye alikuwa ni unstoppable. Tulimstopisha. Tulimstopisha Nyayo.
Raila Odinga was right, because Parliament was threatened when they were about to pass the Finance Bill 2023 that included the housing levy, and they passed it. They were cajoled. Some members confessed that Moses Wetangula did not communicate to them on the right time that that bill was going to be passed. They thought that it was going to be discussed for some time before it was passed, but it was rushed, and that is why we are where we are. Moses Wetangula and Amason Kingi are working for the executive arm of the government. You see, they are supposed to be independent, the legislative arm of the government, the judicial arm of the government, and the executive arm. But it seems that the executive arm is more powerful because it is the one that controls the police, it is the one that controls the military, it is the one that controls money. He can decide to sit on the money so that judges don't get the money that they want, the courts don't get the money, parliament don't get the money, and he can decide to unleash terror on them, just send the police. And so I think they have been intimidated and subdued to a level that they are powerless, they are voiceless. And this is the reason why they are working for the government. Number two, we have got speakers who are political rewardees. Somebody like Amason Kingi did not help the Kenya Kwanza with anything. He was just rewarded because he ditched Raila Odinga. And as a result, he was playing the perceptual politics that now cost is ditching Raila Odinga. When you are rewarded politically, you have to reciprocate. You go there with strong instructions that this is what you have to do. Remember when there were changes in the Senate, when Raila, the Azimio coalition, wanted to make Ledamo Lekina, give him a position in the Senate, and he wanted to replace the members of KANU that had gone to State House, and they had shown very clearly that they were working against Azimio, they were working with William Ruto. The Senate Speaker Amason Kingi thwarted and were frustrating those efforts until Raila had to really make a lot of noise. The same is happening even now when Moses Wetangula at the National Assembly frustrated the replacement of Sabina Chege with the Bakassi West Member of Parliament, Mwenje, in the position of minority chief whip. Is it deputy chief whip? So Moses Wetangula dragged, and when he finally pronounced himself on the matter, they have created another scenario where Sabina is now made the chief whip of the Jubilee Party. And you know how that story goes. And as I speak, I think the Azimio fraternity, the Azimio team, has gone to court for more legal redress. Something that will not work, because even the courts are working for the executive. When you try and write a letter to the Registrar of Political Parties, that body is also captured. So you cannot go anywhere. Whether it is the political parties, tribunal, it's not working. They are also working for the president. So this is the reason why people like Moses Wetangula can never be independent. They are taking they are taking care of the coalition that they belong to. Remember, Moses Wetangula is a leader of a party for the Kenya. Amason Kingi is a leader of the PAR party, and they are members of the coalition of the Kenya Kwanza team. So they are taking care of the interest. This is why it is recommended that before you head such a very important office as a speaker, you need to relinquish your position as a party leader. And you need to exercise a lot of neutrality, impartial judgments, because as it is, they cannot dispense justice to anybody. And as a result, it is Kenyans who are suffering. These people are also being threatened by William Ruto. When William Ruto issues threats to the judges and to anyone who's trying to go to court, this threat is not, specific to one individual. It is meant for all the members of parliament, people like Okiya Mutata who would want to go to court, civil society rights groups, the judges who will be listening to the case, the speakers themselves. In a way, it is a coded message. So they're being threatened. They cannot do anything beyond that which, or less than the expectations of the president. Otherwise, they would engineer a vote of no confidence, and Amason Kingi would be kicked out very easily. Moses Wetangula can also be kicked out. So they're being threatened. Now the last one is, these two speakers have got a personal vendetta against Raila Odinga. Remember, both of them have worked with Raila. Moses Wetangula during the NASA team was a co-principal. No, he didn't bring so much to the party, but he's a member of the Kenya the for the Kenya party. And so when they came together to team up under the NASA coalition, he was a co-principal. But I think when Raila was going for the swearing in, he didn't go, and Raila had realized that maybe they had started meeting with William Ruto, and so he was replaced at the Senate as the Senate minority leader, I think, and he was replaced with Orengo. He's still bitter to date. Remember there, Raila was saying that the one who plucked him from Kanu, and they started. And by the way, Moses Wetangula is a very strong politician. He was part of the team who were fighting for the second liberation during the Nyayo era. The party leader, Amason Kingi, up to recently was a member, as a governor of Kilifi, was working very closely with Raila Odinga. He tried engineering a revolt where he wanted a coastal party, but Joe stood very firm against those attempts, and Amason Kingi had started working closely with William Ruto. So he's got some personal vendetta with Raila Odinga. So that makes the two of them work against Raila. One thing that they don't realize is that when you think you are working against Raila, the people who suffer are the common wananchi, including those people, the Coastarians, brothers and sisters of Amason Kingi, his village, men, including those who are coming from Wetangula's village. You don't make the right decisions, you think you're punishing Raila. The result is that people are suffering. This is what happened even in the Kikuyu nation, Mount Kenya. Not all of them. Those who were hoodwinked and they were voting against Raila, voting against Uhuru Kenyatta, now the punitive taxes are eating on them. The bad leadership of the Kenya Kwanza is eating on them. Just because they didn't vote wisely, they voted against someone. They didn't vote for Ruto, they voted against Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. We need to be wise as leaders. And so this is a rallying call to Moses Wetangula and Amason Kingi. They need to know that sometimes the fate of Kenyans rests with them. Parliamentarians must understand that the fate of Kenyans rests with them. We elected them. If they had stood firm, they wouldn't have passed the Finance Bill 2023. We wouldn't have been where we are. So ladies and gentlemen, I think we need to demand accountability for our leaders. That is my take.